Welcome back, everybody, to Vital MTB's news podcast show, Bikes Unaffiliated. This is our spot to chat about bike-related topics, aren't necessarily focused on current events, racing, interviews, or reviews. I'm Jason Schroeder, tech editor over here at Vital. I'm joined, as always, by Lars Sternberg, Vital contributor and owner of Flowcraft MTB, which specializes in equipment and suspension tuning services, in case you didn't know, because I don't think we've ever specified what it is. And I also have Shawn Spomer, our content director over at Vital. How are you guys doing?
Whoop whoop. Yeah, good. Happy Monday.
Good.
Yes.
Just fighting the black lung. No biggie.
I know. I feel really guilty being down in Southern California where it's been pretty nice. It's been warm, but it's been nice, and we don't have any smoke, which is not the truth for most of the West Coast.
Don't just celebrate it. Celebrate your life.
You're breathing. Well, you were down here last week, and you were like, oh, I need to go buy a pack of cigs just to, keep the norm going.
I did. I got a headache from the fresh air. I'm like, oh, what is this?
What is this? Dude, you went to SoCal and you didn't end up in the hospital, Spoons?
No, it's good. And I actually stayed one hotel over from the prostate prison, and then I had a little PTSD. I was like, I don't know, is this gonna work? And I was pretty diligent. Everything worked out. Got home. So
Dude, clean getaway.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, people need to go back and listen to whichever podcast that was, in
Yeah.
case you don't know.
the heaven and hell staff
Heaven
as
and
well or
hell.
something.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so today we got two topics lined up. Number one, can we define what a core mountain biker is? And number two, do we still care about weights for how much a long travel bike weighs? We still talking about that? And to kick off this show, as we've been doing this past year, let's see some what's in and what's out. If you guys want, I can rip mine real fast.
Get in there, dude.
All right. Sticking with what I originally thought these segments would be, we got content for you. I have Eric Fedko's type shit video. I don't watch mountain bike videos anymore. Very rarely do I watch mountain bike videos. And this came up, and I watched the whole 25-minute video, and I think you should too. It's like insane shots, like really good cinematography, really unique writing, and good music choices. Like it did not feel like a normal mountain bike video. There was no, now we have this rider in their segment, or now we're going to this place for this experience. It was just almost like a music video the whole way through, which was really neat. So I think SRAM was a partner on that, which is cool to see too.
Yeah. Sweet. Was
That's
it
what I
mostly
was saying.
slope style stuff? Like I haven't watched it yet. Is it like their jump slope, all that good stuff?
Yeah, primarily slope. And if you like anybody who tunes into slope events, they filmed at popular events throughout maybe last season, it seemed.
Compilation, you might say.
Yeah. It was cool. They had like freaking Lil Moyne had a rap that he wrote for the
Did he?
video, and then he
That's
rode
sick.
to his own song. It's
Oh,
crazy.
that's cool.
Yeah, not many people can do that.
What do you think came first, the rap or the actual riding?
Oh man. For the video itself, that's a great question. I would say the rap came afterwards. I don't know what type shit means. I feel like I'm out of the loop on like if that refers to something. Like he had it on his jersey too. So I'm like, maybe it's a collab branding thing. I don't know. But it's funny listening to French rap because you have no idea what they're saying, and then you'll just hear him say like type shit. And then it goes back into like words you don't know. Yeah.
Baguette.
Yeah, exactly. Here, I'll rip my what's out real fast too. I have e-bike systems that don't let you tune assist profiles on the bike and require you to connect to an app, because I've been riding an Amflow lately, and the Avanox system, it's literally an iPhone in your top tube. You can do everything on it. You never have to connect your phone, and it's like, why have we not always done this? Like, remember we used to complain about, oh, like Shimano doesn't have percents for your battery, like it's just bars. I'm like, it's crazy how far we've come. It's a lot better. The interface is much nicer.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
Go, Lars.
Go. What's in? I just thought it was rad seeing all the variety of different types of events that was happening all over the course of this past weekend. You got like Downeyville, with like a downhill race, cross country race, and then a compilation of those two, which is pretty sick. Here in Bellingham, we had Talus and the Hesh Cruise Woolly Fest going down. just a little bit south of town. You had a downhill race at Mount Bachelor. There was the Silver Star Crankworks going on, which I think the race runs got canceled due to smoke.
Yeah.
And yeah, just cool. We're deep summer right now. Stuff's going on all over the place, and celebrating all types of riding. That's pretty sweet. And then what's out? I talked to a number of people who were up at Crankworks Whistler this year, and separately, they all the resounding piece of feedback that I got was just how noticeable it was, the lack of industry attendance and participation was. Not that there was a decline in rider participation, but mostly that, like, I know that at one point it kind of seemed like maybe it was the next Sea Otter type thing from an industry standpoint, and it definitely was noticeable that it's gone the other direction now. And I don't know if that's just a sign of the times as far as industry budgets and whatnot. But yeah, just interesting.
Yeah. I know, like, for us, it was kind of a choice of, do we go to Crankworks or do we go to the World Cup? And we chose the World Cup. And I wonder how
Right.
many, you know, kind of non-local or regional brands are thinking the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
got one piece of budget
Yeah.
to spend on a trip out there, and what one's going to be worth it. So
Totally. And there's the Hardline Squamish or
right,
Hardline,
which is right after,
this year,
yeah,
right?
right,
Yeah,
World
yeah,
Cup, yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I always wondered with Crankworks, you know, the couple of years we've been there where the whole village is vendors, but the people walking through there is really mixed. You have people who are on
Yeah.
vacation, you have
Yep.
all of us dirtbag mountain bikers, and then you've got spectators that come up from Vancouver for the weekend to party. And it never really, I almost wonder if just that high kind of came and went, and maybe the impact
Yep.
wasn't fully there, matched
Totally.
with this year, just there being other events. Because, I mean, leading up to this Crankworks Whistler, I probably had 3 emails from brands about things going on during Crankworks. The majority of emails this year have been assuming we're just going for the World Cup or we're going to be there at the World Cup. And there's a lot of brands doing different activation around that, which is a little surprising, I think, because it's just late in the year. Like, maybe it's
Yeah.
just the way my mind's used to thinking that we kind of do things by the year, and maybe more brands are, maybe it's a good way to prep for 27 stuff. You know, it's late enough in the year. We'll show you
Yeah.
something that's coming out in the spring.
Kind of nestles into that fall pre-release.
It was really sad not being there. It's like maybe the 3rd Crankworks Whistler I haven't been at in the last 10 years. It was like weird being home because you kind of see it happening. And I had some friends that still went, and then it looked like it was really good conditions too. It rained some.
yeah.
So hopefully the World Cup's on.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Spons.
no, go ahead.
No.
I just gonna say on the Crankworks Silver Star tip, I watched Luke Myersmith's POV this morning. It was
Okay.
his winning run, and it said quali / race run P1. Dude, that track looked gross. Like, I would
Really?
not want to fall off the bike on there. Like, it was, yeah, there are just sharp rocks and big
Yeah.
hits and just tight trees with, you know, no pads anywhere. Like, it looks super hectic, especially the speeds they're going. So
Yeah.
Dude, I don't
Did he have
know.
fog lights on for the smoke?
almost, right? Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, he's a very, you know, meticulous breather in his
Yes.
race runs. You can hear him, and just thinking like, every time he's breathing in, he's just sucking in all this smoke. I'm like,
Oh, dude, he's feeling that today for sure.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. So
What is even up with these other Crankworks events? Like, I didn't even know there was something going on at Silver Star this weekend.
yeah, it's like their
I
summer
don't know why I
CNS or
didn't
something.
get
Yeah.
at any of it. Like,
I think it started during the pandemic.
okay, so
It
it's
kinda,
still
like,
that sort
spread.
of vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
I-
And then
I mean-
what? Crankworks finals at Mont Saint Anne.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I've heard about
Mhm.
that.
Yep. Like, not to, you know, harsh on it, but and I imagine a lot of it had to do with smoky conditions, but the finish line looked very sparsely attended in
Yeah, totally.
Luke's
I mean,
video.
it does
So,
seem like it dilutes it a little bit.
pretty niche event. Yeah, I guess. Or like location and stuff. So
Which on one hand, it's cool to have maybe, I don't know if you want to call it regional, but I guess like a more regional event.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always down with that.
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. And like Lars, to jump on your what's in a little bit with all the different events going on. It seems like summer's the most active time for events, but also the kind of like the least concentrated, where in the fall or at the start of the season when a World Cup's on, everyone seems really honed in. Everyone's paying attention to the same thing. And now there's so many good things going on at once in the summer that, you know, if it's not in your neighborhood, you're almost not even paying attention to it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We're in the widespread case of ADHD for events and content.
totally. Yeah. And everyone's so cool. Like they all have neat themes
Yeah,
or styles
totally.
or, you know, display. So
Yeah, we're probably gonna have a whole podcast about Woolly Fest, but we'll save that
for sure. Yep. My in and out. My what's in, dude. Jonathan Helly. That guy is so sick. Like I've seen him in video parts and like watched, you know, I think runs on races and stuff, but at Solitude, which is what, a month ago, the Pro Downhill Series, he was there and is one of the only pros on a transition. So he kind of stuck out. I'm like, oh, okay, here comes a purple transition. And he's tall and lanky. Dude, he's so fast and just doesn't seem like he cares about anything. Like he's super fun to watch. So he's my new favorite guy. So, and Max Clark, the kid on the Ibis e-bike, I think he was on a Frameworks downhill frame.
He was
I forget
on
where I
a
saw him.
Vessel, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay,
Pretty positive,
cool.
yes.
Saw him on like like a non-Ibis. I'm like, okay, he's shredding pretty hard on that.
Sort.
So, you know, good for him too. And my what's out is just smoke in Boise, Idaho, and we're just trapped at like orange, red, purple air quality for the last month because we're surrounded by wildfires. So get a couple little offshore days where you can sneak in and get some riding in, but yeah, forget the smoke. I don't know if there's a way, like if Idaho can sue Oregon for all the damage they're causing. Wasn't someone talking about that somewhere about Canada? I'm just kidding. But then the bonus is between summer heat and smoke, and then if it's windy, that's where e-bikes are the sickest because you don't really have to work hard to the point of you're really sucking things in or sweating or pushing yourself. You can go out and ride. So I've found that's pretty fun for e-bikes. If it's crappy conditions where you might not really want to pedal, you can at least go get some trail time. So
Yeah, I wonder who's
100%.
starting all these fires. E-bike brands.
yeah, right. Dude, there was one day I went out. I knew it was hot. It was in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm just gonna see if I can do it. If it sucks, I'll turn around and not be dangerous about it. But went out to this local spot and I got in the van and it says 104 degrees out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this with the e-bike and to see what happens if I get to the top. And I poured water all over my shirt, so my shirt was wet. I rode for like an hour and a half and it was 104 degrees. And so I'm like, okay, it wasn't the most fun thing I've ever done, but it's possible. But I did have that in the back of my head of just like, okay, hopefully this thing doesn't explode or blow up or like rotors catch fire on some like brittle grass or something that's gonna, go up in smoke. But yeah, it's fine. So yeah, it's e-bikes for summertime and pedal bikes for spring and fall in the good season. How's that?
Yeah, it is really nice to have motivation when it's hot, the trails are tired, but you're like, I should go ride, and you can still just get out there and get after it.
Yeah.
But then you just need more bikes. That's the one downside,
It is.
I'm spoiled. We're all spoiled with having a lot of bikes, but if I had to, probably could only afford 1 to 2 bikes if I wasn't working in the industry, it'd be hard to pick,
Yeah.
But we're almost there where that Amflow I've had was 46.8 pounds for a size large. Pretty dang light for a like super crazy powerful e-bike. So give it a couple more years if you can hold out,
Not to ask you to spill the beans or anything, but how was like the bike part of that bike? I've heard a lot of different, feedback.
Yeah, I would say without spilling the beans too much, the gist of it is that I would buy that bike because of how it rides first, and second because it has an Abanox system. So
Cool.
which is crazy.
That's a lot of beans spilled out on the floor right there.
It is a lot of beans, I know. I'm not going to go into it any more than that. But no, it's
Spomer's like, dude, you're blowing it.
Dude, I don't care. I think the bike's sick too. So like
Too
to have
much.
someone who can actually
Too
ride, verify it. I'm like, all right, cool.
I think it's pretty awesome that team, they were like, hey, use our system, and all the brands were like, ooh, we don't know who you are, and they're like, all right, we'll just make our own bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal.
I know. The one thing I wish is I would have ridden was it PL was the first one they had, I believe.
so.
Their PL model that came out in 24. Because I had a few friends that had it.
Oh, is this
but
different?
This is their newest one that came out with the new motor in April or whenever that was.
it.
And the first one, the way I viewed that bike was a vessel to house the Avanox system.
Mhm.
The bike was just a bike, and it really was there so that people could experience the motor.
Right. Yeah.
And especially like as I did more research, I kind of was like, oh, it's the only thing you can buy in the US, or it's like the only bike with at the time it was DJI motor before they rebranded to Avanox. But there were other bikes in the world, but in the US, I think it was the only, if not one of the only bikes you could get for a while. And a lot of people got the cheaper one. And so you have unproven bike that looks not super sophisticated or kind of dated with parts that aren't that nice. And it's like, it's kind of just a crappy whatever e-bike, but the motor's crazy fast. That was my whole perception of it. And they didn't actually change the bike a ton, and they didn't give me any information on kinematics. So like all I had to go with is what you can read online basically. Which makes me wonder, how did that first bike ride? Like I like rode one buddy's around some very simple trails, and it was just beat, so it's like, well, this bike's pretty clapped out. I'm not going to judge the whole bike on this. So yeah, like the one asterisk, and we should save this actually for another time, but it is interesting if you try to go buy a Avanox bike right now, it is hard to find them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't put out this Amflow video yet, and they're kind of pushing us on like when we're going to put it out. And I'm like, dude, where can you buy your bike right now though? Like, what's the rush is kind of my thought, but we'll talk about that at some point. I think at another time would be interesting. You guys want to talk about being a core mountain biker? Should we sit from the top of our pedestals as industry core people and tell you how you should act and should be?
Sit from the top of our ARP cards.
We chatted about this during a Vital meeting we had last week, and then I listened to a Stab podcast, which is surfing, with Jamie O'Brien, and they talked about core on there. And I guess the reason I wanted to bring it up is that before I was at Vital, now working at Vital, I think we get referred to as like the core media site quite often. Maybe even internally, we think of ourselves as being that, and not from a like hotty toddy, we're like, we're the gospel on being like a core mountain biker, but that's our audience we speak to. But then you try to define that, and I think it gets really interesting. So maybe, I don't know, do we each want to give what our definition of a core mountain biker is? Ugh. Are you going to shoot yourself in the foot too hard? Like, it's going straight to Instagram right now. So
I feel like the older I get, the harder it is to define. Because
100%.
when I was younger, maybe you have blinders, or you're just a lot more narrow or black and white with how things are. But, again, with age, with experience, it's like, okay, core, you could look at the core cross people, or, kids at Whistler with no chains, and, they're wearing big jeans and doing stuff like that. Like, okay, those kids are super core. But there's also like a 58-year-old dude who rides 6 hours every day and has done so for the last like 30 years, but from a fashion standpoint, probably looks like a total clown, if you're just strictly going that way. But like that guy, talk about core, like he's dedicated his life to riding his bike as much as he can, just doesn't care how he looks. So I don't know how to define it, but I see I guess it's more of like a fashion and style thing that might be the reflection of what this core is that we're trying to define. Is that fair to say?
I think that could be the negative connotation of being core, is judging somebody based on what you see and then assuming they are or aren't a core mountain biker or core whatever the thing is, you know. I feel the same way. As I've gotten older, I'm more open to just people that, like, to me, if you set up your life around mountain biking, you're pretty dang core.
Yeah.
Whether that's like you just prioritize riding in some way and you do it because you love it. There isn't some other factor involved. When we talked about this on last Monday, I kept going back to, like, to me, it's like core sounds so bad because it sounds super gatekeeping. Like you have to check some box to be core, where to me, it's more like a passion thing and how into it are you. And to me, I'm like, you can be core at one time and then just kind of maybe fade out. And you're not like a core cyclist anymore. Maybe you're just an enthusiast. But we talked about this with like skating and surfing. Like I digest so much of that content and I haven't stepped on a skateboard or a surfboard in like a decade. And I'm like, am I a poser now? You know, like
100%.
Like, you're just a voyeur, dude.
Yeah, right. I'm like, but I'm into those sports from a point of view of like, I care about it and I want it to be perceived a certain way. And maybe just like care and love are kind of like the two main things. Like you really care about riding bikes and you really love doing it. And to me, that's core. It has nothing to do about how long you've been doing it, how good you are at it, because you could be really good at riding and just like not care about it at all or have way other things you're into. And like I have plenty of friends I raced with that don't even really ride that much anymore. And I would not say they're like a core mountain biker nowadays, like they once were.
Well, you have people that maybe ride once a month, but will still watch all the World Cups. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like your analogy of your surf content digestion. You know, you're a fan now.
Yeah.
I think
you're a fan of the culture.
A core mountain biker is easy to define. You had to have had or have a Ride Monkey handle.
Not MTBR before everyone went to Ride Monkey? Come on.
Yeah. MTBR is not core, dude.
Damn it, I'm not core.
No, everyone all the cool people of MTBR got kicked off of MTBR. Well, one or two people did, I forget. And then they went to Ride Monkey, and I think that's what boosted Ride Monkey's status in like 01 or something like that. So yeah, all kinds of good internet drama from 2 decades ago.
Yo, yeah. People from the Vital forums are still referencing Ride Monkey posts as of late.
That's core. Yep.
On the John Tomac topic.
Wait,
I think
Laura doesn't give his definition.
Yeah. So maybe this isn't the greatest analogy, but somebody, like, I have experienced this over many years. Like, to me, it's easy to define a not core person is seeing these people come and go. Like a athlete, for example, that gets like super into racing and they're like, man, I'm going for it. More often than not, younger. And they're like, I'm all in. I'm going to be like the best in the world. And you're like, 3 years from now, you're not even going to be riding, you know? And I don't want to use the term flash in the pan, like, you know, but kind of, you know, like somebody that's just in and out and they don't get what they want out of it super quick. That's not core to me. They're not like, they're just kind of like, you know, it's like they're going which way the wind blows sort of thing, you know? So that's easier to define. And I did write some stuff down last night and it's very much in line with that. Somebody that just does it, you know, like might not have to post to Instagram or get anything out of it other than just the enjoyment out of going to do the thing day in and day out or week in and week out. Yeah.
I like that.
may have never worn a pair of Jean Co's in their life, or Riptons. Speaking of, Ripton is loving it right now. Talk about timing. That's like the mountain bike equivalent of liquid death.
Oh my goodness.
Just like they're loving it right now, dude. Somebody told me they were somehow affiliated with the Core Cross thing.
I think they were. I feel like they were a
Yeah,
title
totally.
sponsor of some kind.
How do you have a sponsor at Core Cross?
Liquid, dude. That's like liquid
Is that,
death.
is that core?
Marketing genius. Like timing and opportunity. All right, we only sell XL now.
Yeah. That's true.
Everything just gets more and more flared out every year.
More shredded.
Yes, exactly. I had a note about the core topic, which is just that, like, is it limiting to even have a definition of what is core, or does that just start to turn into gatekeeping? And I don't like, to me, there's a level of like the idea of the sport needing a core value or coreness to build culture, but that doesn't mean that it has to exclude things necessarily. Like,
I kind of agree. I think I know what you're saying, and I feel like core to me more references the sum of its parts than a person as an individual.
like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, because if you take like kind of what you might envision as core, and it references a rider or a type of rider or a style, you have people that are putting the trails together behind this person.
Mhm.
You have people that are putting together certain bike parts that this person will want to ride, and so it is. It's like without everyone together, you kind of can't have it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's kind of wrong to like assign an individual identity to that.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Why do you think some brands get identified as being more core? Do you think it's just what the values they put on, whether that's the things they support, the riders they support, and like what they stand for? Because I mean, there could Specialize as an example is a massive company, but I would define every person I know that works there as being an incredibly core mountain biker. Like they are putting it first in their life and the effort they put in developing bikes. But there's a lot of people that from outside looking in would be like, Specialized, whatever, they sell out or they're too broad or whatever it might be. Where you look at like a Frameworks and it's so easy to be like such a core brand, you know, like everything they do is just like pure mountain biking. But to me, I'm like, well, they stand for like very similar things, I think, as like a brand point of view.
I mean, Specialized sponsors Frameworks.
That's a good point. Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easy to pigeonhole, if we're talking about brands, a brand that's bigger than X size can't be core. A brand that's this size or smaller can definitely be core. And there probably has, like history with how people have been treated in the past, I think rolls into it.
Yeah, true.
Things like that. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. Like at least in the kind of mountain bike specific side of Specialized, like, yeah, everyone that I know there is insanely dedicated to riding bikes and are trying to cut out to build trails or go ride more than work, just like anyone else is, So, but, Specialized also has the large business side of it that's easy to kind of take a dump on. So,
Yeah.
That was,
I think people tend to make an association based on size, as you mentioned, like, oh, you can't be core if you're bigger than X, I do kind of.
Yeah. That is a funny one. Like I think that same idea gets applied to athletes as well. Like if you're making so much money, you're not that core. Or if whatever it might be, like whatever your reach is, there's like a lot of really good riders that are more like in the slopestyle world that are more YouTubers nowadays. I feel like it's so easy to be like, they're not core because of whatever, like but at the same time, you're like, well, they're speaking to like the broadest audience, and they're like, you know, people that are stoked on bikes, probably early on in their mountain biking career, are digesting this content. And like, I don't know, that was one thing from that Jamie O'Brien podcast, is that he was saying that if you're a pro and you get paid money from brands, you're not core, which I thought was such a hot take. I was like, I didn't fully agree with it, because I think you should get paid if you're good at something for what you do. If you provide something to that brand, I can understand it not being core to change who you were or what you're doing because you're getting paid money to do it instead. Like, it's probably hard to debate that like the most core thing you could do is do something because you're making no money at it other than just you love doing it. And maybe that's why small brands get that core tag put to them, because it's the assumption that, well, they're not making $1 million, they're not getting rich at this. Maybe that's why we're considered core, because people are like, well, they're smaller than Pink Bike, and so they're doing it for the love of it.
Yeah.
Um,
But just like Specialized, like so many people at Pink Bike are up all night, like
for sure,
living and
we're all the
breathing
same
mountain
people.
biking, like no different. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we got a green logo, they have a red logo. It's like probably one of the biggest differences at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
like,
think
it's
like
interesting.
as mountain bikers, we're all core. This is somewhat tangential, and I'll try and condense it as quickly as possible. We had a random house guest this weekend from Germany. This 55-year-old German woman who is friends with my wife's parents, who happened to be passing through town. She stayed for a couple nights, and just through general chat, she was asking me about how you get to be. She's like, I've never met anybody that's a professional mountain biker. And I'm like, well, I'm not pro. I'm technically not pro anymore, and I found myself trying to explain to her that, like, as a pro mountain biker, it's very different than like being a professional basketball player. For example, we're effectively hobbyists. You know what I mean? Like 99.999% of us do not really make a livable wage as a pro. Like, you're doing it because you want to do it. You're not doing it because like there's money in it. Like, really, it's like, oh, you're a pro, but it's your hobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, so that was interesting. But yeah, I think to me that kind of means that, like, just being a mountain biker, you're kind of core to some level, because you're
It's a good
just
point.
kind of like a fringy, not fringy sport, but kind of, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and almost
there's no light at the end of the tunnel, dude. Like,
Yeah, but like we were at our meeting this week, we talked about it, and so I live down the street from a really nice public bike park that has all kinds of trails, good jump trails, big jumps, gap jumps, expert level stuff. And there are high school kids out there, and even like probably middle school kids, that are punting all these big jump lines in like Nikes and basketball shorts. They're going to go do that, and then they got to go off to basketball practice. Like, there's this, but they're insanely good riders, and it seems like they have fun, but they do a bunch of other things too. And I think, at least back in our generation, maybe that you'd have been a complete square if you did something like that. Like, no, you have to focus on one thing only.
Mm-hmm.
But I would wager these kids should be considered core because they've picked up the sport enough to have that much fun and acquire the skills to hit those trails and do those things. But it might not be the only thing they focus on. So I don't know. It's just a different time, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I know. All it makes me think about is, does it matter? Does it matter if we have whatever the core is, like, is it, because I think about those kids, and I'm kind of the opposite, where I'm like, I don't know if I would maybe call them like a core rider, because they do other things, which is totally fine. But I can see arguments for both ends. Like, well, they put in all the time to get really good at something. You have to be so dedicated for anything in your life to get that good at it.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, that makes you pretty dang core, and yeah, it does feel like maybe the timing for my mountain bike career coinciding with COVID and like the boom of people riding has made it seem like it doesn't really matter as much what the core, or if you are core or not. Like, just gatekeeping is the other word that comes to mind for me. Like, it's just way less gatekeeping than it used to be. And maybe that's part of me growing up. Maybe it's because we just do have so many more new users. And those people are at all different like levels of how they treat mountain biking. But to maybe put that definition of like being core, I don't know. Like I think it just always comes back to like, dude, if you're into it and you like do it often, you might not always be like a core mountain biker, but for the time that you're prioritizing it, you're pretty dang core. And I don't even think that really comes down to like if you are tuning in to the industry or culture that much, you know? Like, I feel like some of my friends that I would consider the most core, like, don't really have Instagram. They're never posting anything. They don't know, they're at an old ass bike, you know? And it's like, well, at the same time, I'm like, that could be like the least core thing because they're not doing anything for the culture, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it is funny how the definition sort of ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Or think about the person that's not up to speed on the industry at all, has never visited any of the mountain bike websites, but they ride mountain bikes every once in a while. They've got a 10-year-old bike that they still go and ride, you know, when they have, you know, some free time in their schedule. And they're riding, you see the bike on their bike rack that they're riding, you know, and you're like, man, that thing is clapped. But they're still out there enjoying it. I mean, they're probably more core than most people because they're like, I don't care. I'm just, you know, I'm gonna go ride this thing, you know, and they don't, you know, may not even know any different, but they're still doing it because they get enjoyment out of it, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like there's this idea of being core is that you're not influenced by someone else and you're bucking the trend of what everyone thinks. But I don't, where was I even going with that? I totally lost my thought.
Well, then it's like,
you're not influenced, but then you're like in this, if you kind of realize that you're core, well, then like you want to be the influence to everyone else. So
yeah, it quickly
I know.
becomes being cool almost.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, it's like we almost associate what is core as what is like the cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
If I think about like a core mountain biker, I think about Josh Bryceland. But it, you know, he literally quit racing to just go ride because he loves riding bikes.
Yeah.
But I also think his riding is sick. I think that's like the most punk rock thing you could do, you know? And I'm like, well, there might be other people who watch him ride and they're like, I don't get it. You know, like I don't get the weird I don't get the
For
weird
sure.
jibbiness. Like, or
Yeah.
they could be like, this dude is a sellout and just rides e-bikes now. He's not core at all. You know, like they're poking everything out there, you know? Which the whole e-bike thing is probably an entire discussion around what is core, you know? Yeah. I don't know. I'd be curious what other people think or how much people really care about it, you know? Like, especially if you're not in the industry, you're just into riding bikes. And even if you like are digesting media a lot and you know what's going on, like I wonder how much the core concept in the back of your head influences what you end up wanting to watch or what you're into.
Should we bring up the fact that, like, I don't know if the core thing's gone too long, but like, dude, when you were racing and I was like declining and stuff, it was, if you trained, you were as square as it got for racing. But how are you going to get good at racing if you're not training? You know what I mean? There was that whole dichotomy of what was going on.
Totally. I mean, the like Kovarik, Rennie,
Yeah.
like those guys like defined that era, like just party hard, you know, and then
Gwyn ruined it all.
Well, totally. I mean, it was, I think for a long time, it was kind of like an unspoken agreement. As long as nobody trains and we all just party, like it's an even playing field, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then Aaron came in without knowing the agreement. He's like, oh.
Totally. Yeah. He never signed the contract, dude.
Yeah, totally. I was very guilty of being like, no, it needs to look this way to be cool. You know, it needs to have that style. You have to have these pants, or like you have to have a D2 helmet or whatever. So,
dude, I wanted to get a photo on Littermax so bad. So bad.
Too funny. We were just talking real quick about core or not, but how in the 2000s, kind of like pre-Gwyn, to be a core racer, you had to win and do well, but you also weren't allowed to train because you'd be square. Yeah. And so that was kind of a weird dichotomy to live in. And then Gwyn came in and ruined it all. So
yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was definitely an unspoken agreement across all the racers that like,
but then some were secretly training, right?
I think so. Yeah, definitely some closet training for sure.
Yeah. Then even too, it's like your core, if you're going to the after party and, you know, whatever, having a few beers, or you don't care that much.
It's all spandex on and go for road rides, but I wouldn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, exactly right. It's all mask for everybody being kind of nervous and caring a lot more than they want to lead on to be.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to drag this on too long, but from a brand perspective, I think of someone like Luke Myersmith, who is insane with his training. He's putting out vlogs. He's hitting every single race he possibly can. Like, his focus is train, fit, fast, do what he can. Maybe his results aren't always there. Is that more important than, I don't know, more like pivot factory racing, where you have, Dylan doing pretty well, like Bernard's trying, but you have like kind of the fun of Eddie being on there and doing that. Like, I assume they both have different kinds of value, but if you were a team manager, would you pick someone like Luke, or would you pick someone who's a little more kind of like loose and colorful, fun, for lack of a better word? I'm not saying Luke's not fun at all, but he's clearly focused with what he's doing.
Performance driven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we talking about which one's more core?
Kind of. Yeah.
Man.
I think that kind of, that's what makes that term so contradictory.
Totally.
Okay.
100%. Those two examples kind of are the two different types of being core in a way. The like pivot feels like they're doing it because they love it and they would be there anyways, even though they are all making money. They have a bunch of sponsors behind them. You know what I mean? Like they're
serious about the racing.
Yeah, like they're a factory team, but the optics of it are like loose and we're here because we love it. Even though obviously Luke Myersmith loves racing, otherwise he wouldn't be dedicating his entire life to it. But his approach from like the core standpoint is putting everything at this I can. Like, I'm as dedicated as it gets. But it's like it's just like a human thing almost to, for whatever reason, want to like shit on people that are trying super hard. You know, like maybe it's just lack of confidence, or you feel like you should be doing the same. And so maybe you feel less inclined to attach to that. But it's funny though, because you take like Gwyn in his peak, when he leveled up on everybody else because he was training and took it so serious. And he kind of got praised for it for a couple of years, until then it was like, well, now racing's worse because he made it so serious. But at first it was like, oh my gosh, like he's crazy. He's like, he's taking this so much more serious than anybody ever has. So you're poking the holes in the whole core. Well,
I like them both. One day I'm like,
that's
totally.
Yeah. Like if I'm watching a World Cup broadcast and someone bobbles and they know they're not going to win and they don't try the rest of the run, it's as if I'm their team manager. I get super mad at them. I'm like, dude, come on, you try. Like, you're out there. They're paying to be out there. Yeah. But then it's like, if someone's chilling and does some super nasty whip, this like, oh, okay, that's cool too. I want to have it both ways. So,
yeah. I mean, dude, when Luke won Lake Placid last year, like, I mean, so much emotion. I don't think every single person watching it was like, I don't even really maybe know him as much as I thought I did, and I could not be more stoked for him.
Totally.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and who's to say that Luke isn't also having a good time
True.
that we,
Right.
that we don't
He
see?
is Aussie.
And who's to say that somebody like Eddie on Pivot Factory Racing isn't actually training as hard as Luke? He just doesn't show it.
That's the rumors, right? Like Eddie's a super gnarly trainer.
Dude, he is, and he's crazy smart. Like,
And
a
I'm
businessman.
using those two people as an example, but like,
Right.
we're referencing, that's another part of the problem of the assumption based designation of that is like you're basing that on what you see.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are kind of like curating what you see, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
poking a lot of holes.
Yeah, pure judgment. That's all it is.
I know. I'm like, do we even talk about just like how Vital's perceived? Or is that too, are we adding on to this conversation already too much?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If you like our content, thanks for tuning in, whether you're core or this is the first time you've ever entertained us.
Email links to your friends.
You're core just by listening.
Yeah. If you're this far in, you are for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
You're core and we love
Now
you.
go sign up for Ride Monkey. You don't know what that is. ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Lars, you want to take this second topic that you added to our outline for this week? I do like
did.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just kind of chucked this in there at like 11:30 last night. I was working late.
That's when your best ideas come to you.
Yeah, totally. I've become kind of a napper these days. And I haven't been sleeping past like 5:30 or 6 in the morning, no matter what time I go to bed. So when I can squeak a nap in, I
Heck yeah.
kind of breaking up that like long sleep overnight sort of situation, which is, So what got me thinking about this is that I recently reviewed the Yeti LT, which was a freaking sweet bike. And I have one of those hanging feedback bike scales.
Mhm.
And it just like went on the fritz like 3 months ago, and I put some new batteries in, and so it doesn't work, and I'm too cheap to buy a new one. Anyway, I had no way to weigh the bike, so I went the entire duration of testing that bike without actually knowing what the actual weight of the bike that I was riding was, and I can't even remember at this point what they stated the weight was. That used to be such a big consideration, especially with the longer travel bikes. So I guess my topic was kind of two-part. One, long travel bikes are freaking sweet these days. Long travel trail bikes. Do people still really want them? Also, do people still care about bike weights, especially in the long travel? Like, have e-bikes just kind of blown that out of the water? Is that kind of where people spend their time and energy thinking about weight now? Because it didn't seem like an issue that I didn't even disclose,
Yeah.
I just feel like at one point, if you didn't say what something weighed, like a bike like that, they would be like, oh my God, that's the most important part.
Yeah.
For sure.
Did you even write it?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm riding another long travel bike right now, and when I started riding, I still don't know how much it weighs. And when I started riding, I was like, I think it's pretty light for what it is. And now that I've like picked it up and picked some other bikes up that I'm riding with, I'm like, oh, that thing is heavy. But like, I'm just like happily indifferent,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep pretending like it's lighter than I think it is.
I feel like a
Lighter
pedal
than it
bike,
actually is.
yeah, a pedal bike, the weight matters up to maybe a certain travel amount. Because once you get to a longer travel bike, I think you start to see more benefits in it being a touch heavier. Like you're going to be more willing to lug it up the hill because you already bought a long travel bike that you want to ride a certain way going down, and a little bit of weight will play into that nicely. E-bikes, I don't think people really give a shit about how heavy it is as long as it's not over like 60 pounds. If it's under 60 pounds, that's pretty much most e-bikes right now. Or most, I should say most carbon e-bikes with decent parts. I think the second you go alloy, it's like you're around 60 pounds, it seems. But
Yeah, I didn't mean to bring e-bikes into that.
no, I think it's fair though.
But-
Like I think it's a good, I think we almost have to mention it because it's what a lot of people are considering buying, you know, and I think typically with weight years ago, it was thought of through how it climbed or the fact that you had to get that weight up the hill and then going down, we just kind of didn't really like discuss it as much, it felt. Where an e-bike, doesn't matter how heavy it is, the motor is going to pull you up the hill for the most part. Really just comes down to like how much is the bike riding you versus you riding it once you get to a certain point on weight. And if you're a smaller rider, I think it's definitely harder to ride a heavier e-bike. Like you become much more of a passenger. But dude, for regular pedal bikes, it kind of seems like we just don't care anymore. Like if you buy a 120, 130 bike, you're probably thinking more about weight, but you probably don't prioritize it as much as you once did. You're going to be okay with giving up a little bit more weight, typically with wheels or tires so that they're more durable. And then once you get into the mid travel, like a 140 to 160 rear travel, dude, as long as it's not like over 40 pounds, you're probably chilling. Or you could change tires and kind of like, you know, shave or gain some weight to make it ride the way you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people that would ride a 150, 160 mil travel bike are probably going to want it equipped similarly to that of like a 170 bike.
Yeah.
And the Geo is
Heavy.
more that way, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yep.
like if I almost feel like Geo's a good one to look at as well, because once you start getting to a 64.5 head tube, you're going to be able to ride that bike pretty dang hard going down, which means it's going to get heavier because you're going to want parts that make it fun to ride down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it used to be that it didn't seem like there was this consideration of like weight is good as long as it's in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it started with like, okay, tires, or kind of when inserts came around, like, okay, I'll take that weight because of what it is. But now people are concentrating weights in the bottom bracket area. And I assume that's because e-bikes allowed us to get big tanks up the hill only to bring them down to realize like, oh, there's some descending qualities about this that are really neat.
Right.
And I want to apply those to my trail bike too. So it's like, yeah, the idea of weight doesn't seem as scary if it's controlled as to like you can put it in the right places.
Or you
gotta
can take
market
it out if you want.
Or you can what, Lars?
You can take it out.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like Elliot Jameson, I mean, he had what, 3 pounds in his down tube on his
That was wild.
on his stumpy
Yeah.
Whistler. So I mean, that is kind of cool that you can, you know, you're feeling kind of weak one day and take your weight out.
Yeah.
And I wonder too, just going back to Geo or maybe kinematics as well, bikes just didn't pedal as well, or you weren't in as good of a pedaling position, where most bikes nowadays pedal really freaking well. And so being more efficient in your pedaling position allows you to get away with carrying more weight up the hill. It doesn't feel like it. Because there's definitely something to be said about, you could have two bikes that weigh the same, but that weight is in different areas where the Geo is different. And you'd be like, this is one bike could be way harder to ride up the hill. I'm definitely thinking about this more from like a climbing perspective with pedal bikes, but because that's what comes to mind with like, if I wanted a light bike, that's where I would reap the benefit the most. So, yeah, I mean, and two, you know, we went from 26, 27.5, 29, that added a lot of weight with wheels and tires.
Yeah.
And tires have gotten better, but by getting better, they've just usually gotten more burly. So that's added weight. But we've all sort of agreed that 29ers are now mixed wheels. There's benefits to riding that setup, and having tires that are good is really nice. So it's okay if things are not 27 pounds anymore.
Yeah, maybe we've just passed the the delta far enough where, you know, originally mountain bike, everything was kind of cross country. You know, you rode a hardtail, you know, you did everything on the same bike. And so you just kind of, it all involved pedaling, you know. And now that the riding, the equipment, the bikes, the trails have evolved enough that it maybe going as fast as you can, if your primary objective is the descending parts of your ride, getting up the hill maybe isn't as quickly as possible isn't that big of a deal. It's just getting there.
I mean, will we not say that like the majority of people riding mountain bikes do it for the down part?
No. I mean, I think that's a bit of a bubble you live in sort of thing. Like, there are plenty of people that do it all. I mean, I definitely, I ride for the ride. I mean, definitely be descending, you know, but the other day I went on a 20-mile ride to do one primary descent that I could have just parked at the bottom and pedaled up and done. But I parked very far away to ride all the way there, to do that trail, to ride all the way back because I wanted to ride. Not
Was that for like the adventure element or just the fitness, the climb? Like why did you decide to do that?
All of it. Like, I just I like the whole thing, you know?
But like, you did it on like a mountain bike, right?
Yes, a long travel mountain bike.
And like, say you got, I guess my thing is that I think people put more of a priority on the descent, because otherwise we'd all be riding gravel bikes. If it was purely just to like do the thing, versus if you got all the way out there and you got to the top of the descent and your bike sucked on the way down, it would be harder to make the whole experience like kind of like justifiable, I guess. Like I get like a bike that's well-rounded. And obviously if you ride an XC bike, you're going to cater your ride and the trails you ride to that. But I just feel like almost bikes nowadays, even an XC bike, it needs to go down the hill at like a certain safety or fun level, whatever word you want to use, capability, to be worthwhile, it seems. And like the weight aspect of that does play in all that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely prioritize what the bike feels like on the way down, but the rest of it is a big consideration, you know.
Sure.
Like, I want to ride a bike that gets around well, not just, you know, I put my knee pads on and helmet on the handlebars and stem and push up the hill for the down, you know.
We were so core when we did that.
I'm also not like, I don't go for rides and have my knee pads around my ankles. Not that there's anything wrong with people that do that.
Core
but
guy.
Like, I'm trying to like the whole part of my ride, I'm trying to maximize. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, I might eat shit going uphill because I'm trying something stupid, you know. So I'm on my knee pads on.
Well, maybe that mentality seems more common nowadays, and because of that, bikes in general have gotten a little bit heavier, and we're all cool with it because it means that it's going to be more fun overall. Like, I don't keep up with XC bikes, but the few we've covered in recent years, all the marketing hype is around more capable descending or more progressive geo.
Yeah.
And they do typically find a way to make the frames lighter, but I'm pretty sure a lot of component spec has gotten, call it, more descent focused, or it shifts that way more.
Well, there's some athlete that won maybe the last cross country World Cup. Anyway, some very high level athlete won some big race. I can't place it right now. But then I saw a video of him riding on Instagram the other day, and he was ripping on his XC race bike, like full nose stoppy into a turn, like slashing. So I think that maybe just the overall the bridge is being gapped, pun intended. Like the people that ride cross country are better at descending,
Yeah.
and the people that go for the gravity aspect are better climbing all around. I don't know.
Yeah. Or yeah, I almost think on the gravity side, we've just like gotten. I think geo and kinematics have made up the difference in the weight, and we've just been like, it's fine if our bike's a little bit heavier because this thing freaking rips going down, and a lot of people are maybe stubborn and they're still going to go do the 20-mile ride for the one descent, and they're going to bring the bike that rips on the descent, and it probably does pedal and climb better than a bike a decade ago, that was 5 pounds lighter with 27.5 wheels.
What's interesting, this winter I was riding pretty much the entire winter. I spent on super soft downhill casing tires. And now that it's warmed up, we're in summer, I can't bring myself to ride the same weight tires. And maybe because it's hotter, and I'm just looking for a little bit more, take the edge off a little bit. But yeah, interesting.
I know it's funny how much tires kind of become the talking point with weight nowadays. Like you're not really. I think we've just settled a bit on frames and the feel that general mountain bikers will appreciate, and that comes with a certain weight, which isn't heavy, or maybe it's not light. It's just kind of what it is nowadays. But like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be like swapping suspension to try to change weight. It's kind of like wheel systems these days and everything else. You're just like, yeah, it's whatever. It's a couple. The grams probably do add up, but in your mind, you're like, it's a couple grams here and there, whatever.
Why aren't we filling our tires with helium?
My bike does roll faster when I have less air in the tires, so. Yeah, I know, dude. Well, it also comes down to the like, yeah, like how do you interpret the weight of your bike for good and bad? Because to me, like, a heavy bike rolls slow, and I hate that feeling. Like, that to me is what I latch onto when a bike's too heavy. Maybe that plus how much can I influence the bike? But I can have a bike that's really long and it's hard for me to influence, and it can still be light, or I can run light tires but have burly tread and they're going to roll slow versus like other way around. It's kind of a I think it just depends maybe on how you interpret weight in that way. Like, you pump your tires up to 40 psi and go climb up something on your heavy ass bike, I bet you'll be like, this thing's freaking hauling right now. Like, just that alone can make such a huge difference.
Yeah, and I have a lot of bikes that have storage in the down tube, yet I can't really bring myself to ever stuff it full of stuff and still carry around a backpack with all of that stuff in my backpack, because I want the weight on my body, not in the bike, even though you're still carrying it.
Interesting.
You'd rather have it on your body than in the bike?
Yeah.
How come?
Well, for one, because then I can keep everything in the same bag that goes across. I can grab different bikes and everything's in the same place. Have you ever gone on a ride and you're like, damn, my tube's in my freaking down tube with another bike, or whatever. And I just kind of, I don't know. I don't really have a good answer to that, but I feel I'm just more accustomed to like having it on me with me than in the bike. But then you have Elliot stuffing 3 pounds of lead in his down tube.
Could put helium in there.
Yeah, totally.
Put a balloon in there.
Fill the. Oh yeah.
You know what
full pressurized down tube.
There's a lot of empty airspaces in a bicycle that could be filled with helium.
There's a lot of opportunity to drill more holes in your frame. So,
I mean, if you get 110 psi, think about how much volume of helium you could get. In 100. Like, does it actually have more lift force?
I don't know.
God.
The offset to seal the bike up.
Somebody in the comments some engineer or some scientist can tell us. I'm curious. I actually want to try filling my tires up with helium.
See what happens.
You know, one thing I was thinking about with e-bikes the other day?
The Zephyr.
Yeah. Yeah, no smoking on this bike.
Yeah.
With
No
e-bikes,
riding anywhere in the forest that's on fire now.
we always talk about the low hung weight from the motor, but don't batteries weigh kind of the same amount as a motor? Maybe a little bit less, but like,
Dude, the Amflow that we had, the 800
Is it
watt hour
more?
battery was 9 pounds.
so it's more,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
The battery or motor is like 4.5 or 5, I want to say.
Like I think a easy way to kind of think about it, it's not exact, but basically 100 watt hours is effectively roughly a pound
Okay.
in battery weight
Cool.
Yeah.
in current technological form.
Looking at most e-bikes, the battery, if it's a full-size e-bike, goes all the way right up to the head tube practically. I mean, it's like getting close to your steer. That's a heavier object higher
The
up
front end.
on the front of your bike. And I don't know, I just started thinking about it because I'll notice when I jump between pedal bike and e-bike, the forward push when you're trying to brake, like there's just so much like the bike has so much inertia going forward that I'm like, yeah, there's a benefit in the low hung weight, but part of the stable stuck to the ground feel, I think, is overall bike weight. I think the battery is adding like way more downsides than anything. Like I almost feel like, to me, it starts to, like, riding e-bikes more, that's what I feel the most. Like it's what's packing at my fork the most.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like a standard like 80 newton meter drive unit is what, like that's probably adding like 4 pounds of weight.
Pipe and bottom, you mean?
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
In the drive unit. I will typically run in the same fork from like a pedal bike to e-bike. I'll typically run 10 to 15 psi more pressure in my fork on the e-bike to account for that, where I don't really do that in a shock.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's like sprung versus unsprung. There's some science there, but also talking about, like, you know, we do ride downhill, and as your chassis starts to do that, the steeper pitch you are, the more weight is like pushing into the front end of the bike. Makes a huge difference. That's why my neck's all fucked up.
I feel that.
Doing all that e-bike testing during the pandemic. For sure. That's how I realized I have collapsed C5, 6, and 7 discs right now.
I just looked it up, and a M2S motor is 5.7 pounds, and their new 700 watt hour battery is 7 pounds on the dot.
Okay. The one thing though about that battery in your bike is the down tube is slim, but they've extended the battery higher up into it, like almost touching the steer tube like headset. And so people have mentioned like, well, that puts the weight too high up. And so it is something to consider.
For sure.
Yeah. Are there any e-bike systems that have the battery like compact? Like, wasn't LaPierre doing that at one point? Super compact and squat battery that's like lower down.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure somebody has. I feel like most batteries are, I think they just put the cells in a line and they get real long, you know?
Because you can make that battery pack any shape.
Right. So like a 600 or 400 is going to be shorter in the down tube.
Well, shorter, but it doesn't have to be in like necessarily that tube shape.
Right.
Like they could be packaged anyway. Like if you were somebody that could design a battery and a frame all together, you could look at that differently to alter that weight distribution.
Well, and like my Levo SL, the battery is slimmer, kind of similar to like the Avanoxes, but it's still decently long. I mean, it goes 3/4 of the way up the down tube. It also can't be bottomed out in the frame because the motor's there. But yeah, it seems like when they've just kind of kept them the similar length, but maybe they get slimmer as you do smaller watt hours.
What if they just did every cell lengthwise and it just went in every part of your frame?
And then if you ever needed to work on it, you just don't.
Yeah.
We're getting into the electrical engineering part of the podcast. You know,
Yeah, it's out of my pay grade here.
how these things wound together, and yeah,
But the core lords, when you design your weird shaped battery so it's all down low, core lords are going to say it doesn't look like a mountain bike. It looks stupid, so we're not going to buy it. So you have all those things to consider.
mm-hmm.
Speaking of core lords, do you guys know if there was any association with the crew that did that 4-cross in New Zealand this winter?
Yeah, it was the same. As
The
far as
same
I know,
group.
it's the same group.
Got it.
Yeah.
Dude.
So are
so-
we still going to be as psyched if that thing kind of becomes, you know, like a thing?
Are they the new
Sponsor,
Vital
like-
NTB?
Well,
Red-
dude, it's
Red
like
Bull.
whip off. Sven, all right,
Yeah.
Grizz did the first whip off ever. We'll
Yep.
put it out there. But then later that summer, Sven saw Crabapple in 09 or whenever it was and said, holy
Yep.
cow, we need to have a whip off here. He started whip off. And then Vital was involved because Sven was there and he was super cool. Let's be involved. And then it turned into its own like official thing now. So imagine Core Cross will probably go that way over the next decade. Yeah,
So
okay.
Whip Off isn't core.
Not anymore. No.
We need more long
Or
jump
less.
competitions.
What do you guys think of the beer cans being hucked at everyone?
I think it's dope. Why not?
Every run,
they
all
all-
the time?
They all
Sure.
signed the waiver, dude.
They did, yeah. They signed a waiver. And then the one guy had a box and he was just throwing the whole box of beer cans at everyone. Dude.
Maybe they're all
That-
LaCroix. Maybe it's all Liquid
It
Death.
could be,
Liquid
yeah.
Death, Ripton. We're coming together.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the alcohol. I'm just worried about like projectiles. Dude, Simek was in there. He got a beer can to the face. He didn't care.
Yeah,
That's sick.
good. I know.
Messed those
Yeah.
pretty teeth up.
Do you
That-
think
I
they
think that thing
hand
looks
those
so
core
fun.
sunglasses out at the bottom?
Did they what?
Did they hand the core sunglasses out at the bottom?
Maybe.
For like little speed shades?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't have any more cans of core talk.
Okay.
But if you ride a really heavy mountain bike, that's pretty dang core. So
Yeah.
there's that.
I'll tell you what, I definitely feel not core these days going around and riding my mountain bike in just like normal mountain bike attire, like riding shorts, riding jersey, knee pads, helmet, backpack, full dork store. 'Cause there's most other people that I see riding around, like
I feel that. I'm so jealous of people who can ride in cotton t-shirts. Like I just turn into, like a wet mop. I can't do that. And-
mop it.
Dude, and yeah, I've just got big old logo jersey on. Yeah. That's not very core of me at all. Sweet. That's it. That's all.
Love it.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
See you in a couple weeks, maybe.
Cool. Stay core. Email the link to this podcast to all your friends.
Sign up
like,
for ridemonkey.com.
like, comment, subscribe. It's the most core thing you could do.